All right, since I talked about season one, I figured I might as well talk about season two as well. I know this isn't exactly horror, but I feel like it definitely fits the channel. Twisted Metal season two has come to an end. I think it ended about a week ago, but I finally got to sit down and finish it today. Big fan of this show. I think this is a really fun, overlooked show. The fact that it got a season two, obviously some people watched it, but who has Peacock these days? I don't know. What else does Peacock even have? Not much. So they're gonna need to up their game. Weren't they the ones that did that freaking show? The Teacup, was that Peacock? God, what a dumb show that was. We watched that whole season and it left on this big cliffhanger and then got canceled right after because nobody watched it and it was pretty stupid. And I was like, well, I vested all that time in it. I might as well follow it to the end if they make it, which they didn't. And I was actually kind of thankful, to be honest. Anyway, we got the return of John and Quiet here. John lives beyond the walls. I'm not going to get too into the story here. I will be talking about spoilers because why the hell not? If you haven't watched it yet and you're still on the fence about it, definitely check it out. Watch an episode or two if you can. I think it's a super fun show. I have a great time with every episode. I laugh a lot. I really love the characters. I love John. I love Quiet. I love pretty much everybody, which is actually kind of something that they were able to achieve in this season that actually ended up kind of being heartbreaking because, you know, the whole idea between or behind the video game is it's just kind of all these crazy racers that are in these murder cars and they're driving at each other and shooting one another, and that's the video game, right? You're just driving and it's like a demolition derby with guns. And there's the iconic characters like Sweet Tooth and Mr. Grimm and such, or an Axel, and it's ridiculous. And you're like, how do you make a show out of this? And you just make it super fun. They're able to achieve that. Now, I guess I should stay on point here and say that the kind of the heartbreaking element of it is that with, you know, this whole tournament that Calypso puts together and introduces us to all of these villains and people, you know, whether it's Sweet Tooth, who we knew from the previous season, but newer characters like Raven 2, I guess. There's multiple Ravens, I guess maybe because they couldn't get Nev Campbell back. It was really interesting to see Nev Campbell at the end of season 1, and she's like Raven, but they like recast her for season 2, but they also acknowledge that, like, hey, who the hell are you? And she's like, I'm Raven. And it's like, how many Ravens are there? And there's a lot of us. So I guess that Raven also exists somewhere else if they want to bring her back, or if they couldn't afford to bring her back, or she is off doing Scream 7 or whatever the hell ended up happening. We got this new Raven, which I know a lot of people like don't like her and call her cringe, and I'm like half there with you. She's fine. She can be pretty annoying at times for sure, but she's a villain character, and you're kind of rooting for her to die. And spoilers, obviously, she ends up dying. So good, or at least we think she does. She passes out. I think she's dying. She's seeing the girl that she does this all for. So she kind of gets her wish, is to be with that girl. Which a lot of people kind of get their wishes, so to speak. But yeah, we got the tournament, which they made a Twisted Metal tournament here. Now, how do you do this? I once again, I guess I didn't finish that thought, and I'm moving on once again without completely finishing it. But they really did kind of endear us to a bunch of characters that I then was like, shit, I don't want these people to die. Like, I actually like these characters, and I'm actually kind of bummed now knowing that some of them have to die. Like, I actually liked Vermin. I thought that the actress that portrays her is pretty funny and gross. But you know, when she's having that little romantic moment with Grimm, and Sweet Tooth fucks it up and she runs off all hurt, and I'm like, oh, this is a bummer. And then she ends up dying shortly thereafter. Once again, though, like she just kind of gets electrocuted after surviving the car crash and landing on the hood, which was kind of a funny joke because she's like a bug, right? Like smashed on the windshield. But yeah, she ends up getting thrown off, and the lightning strikes her. But Calypso brought back Dollface, right, John's sister. So I don't know, like very few people seem to actually be like dead for sure, like bodies completely riddled with bullets. Like Axel, same thing. He just kind of like he gets hit in the back, and then he just kind of slumps forward, and his car, whatever the hell contraption, rolls forward and into the smoke, and we don't see him again. That doesn't mean he's dead, right? Same thing with Sweet Tooth. He's dragged off at the end. He's definitely not dead. Guaranteed he's not dead. Mike is definitely dead. Dave is definitely dead. Mayhem obviously survives. Grim is dead. Grim gets fucked up. That was actually one of the more brutal deaths. I found it interesting that they showed the Twisted Metal video game in this movie, or in this show. That was odd. I don't know how to reconcile that exactly. John's training on it, which I thought was kind of weird. I guess they created it. Maybe Calypso made it. Maybe after his failed attempt at getting it on television, he took it to a video game studio. It says it's in the early 2000s when he's pitching this show. So is it possible then he takes it to, PlayStation or whoever company freaking makes that game? I don't know. And pitches the idea, and they make what we know as Twisted Metal. Like it's an in-universe, like a canonical thing that these video games. It's odd that Sweet Tooth and all the characters from this are in it. So self-referential and a bit of like a fourth wall break plot hole but the show's playful and silly, and it doesn't really matter. When I saw it in here, I was like, that's odd. How does the Twisted Metal video game exist in this universe? I don't have an answer for that one, because Sweet Tooth is in the first game. And I think the first game is the one he's playing, so that's odd. I don't know, whatever. I haven't played a lot of Twisted Metal. Like we got it when I was a kid on PlayStation, and I played it a decent amount, but I was never like crazy into it. I never played like Twisted Metal Black or any of the sequels or anything. I think I only played like the first one and maybe a handful of times of other random titles in the franchise. I don't even know how many Twisted Metal games there are. When's the last time they even made a Twisted Metal game? Do they even make them anymore? The fact that they actually put Axel in this show is wild, and just shows you how like much fun this show is willing to have. A guy who is like part machine car, and he literally just goes around completely exposed body, and he has like two wheels on either side of him. Like that's such an absurd character in the game. To actually put him in the show and to give him like an arc. His arc was kind of silly, where he was like, he was Mayhem's like protector. It's just kind of a random thing to like throw at us last second, and then he protects her. It's fine. I don't hate it. It's just kind of like, okay. But he has a bit of a backstory, and I like that he's this like cake maker, and he's taken and he's made into this kind of killing machine, and drinks gasoline, and he was fun. He gave a really fun performance. Grim was fun with all of his different personalities. The whole Stu, Dave, and Mike thing with the cannibalism and the friendship and all that stuff was fun. The prom scene was really fun. The car stuff in this is fine. I think that the problem, of course, being is that there's only so much you can do with it, right? Obviously, they have a limited budget, but also the characters are not plentiful, right? So you have to just have them kind of driving in circles and shooting guns at each other, and the guns don't ever really seem to do anything to their cars. The guns ever really seem to matter. The only time a gun seems to do mostly anything is when I think John shoots Mike through the window, and it's like, why doesn't anyone else ever get shot, and why wouldn't they have bulletproof windows? And like, I don't know, it's kind of silly. The car stuff is fine, but that's not really why I'm watching. I'm watching for the characters, which is good. I love the actor that plays Calypso. I always think he's great. He plays Victor Zsasz in the Gotham television series, and he's in Barry. He's a very funny, versatile actor. I dig that guy a lot, and he's really funny and fun as hell as this character. And yeah, pitting them all to like against each other, and then putting them all in this school and giving them these rules where they're not allowed to kill each other and they have to hang out, and you got this rivalry going on between Sweet Tooth and Mr. Grimm, and you've got obviously a bunch of different rivalries going on and dramas going on between everyone, and then you got Mayhem, who's this kind of like kid character who gets in this automated car, and she's looking for her place in the world because she feels like she needs a family, and she ends up being John and Quiet's surrogate child at the end, adopted child at the end, and that was very sweet and cute, and I like that Raven uses a cheat code, right? Because obviously video games have like invincibility cheat codes, and she has one of those, and Calypso's like, nope, no cheat code. He literally calls it a cheat code. He's like, no, this isn't fair, and he takes her cheat code away. So that was cool. So there's a lot of like really fun kind of winks and nods to video game stuff. And then I don't know anything about this like villain character at the end that ends up being John's sister, brought back from the dead and turned into this like robotic killing machine. That actually looked more like something out of Mortal Kombat, more so than Twisted Metal. I don't know why that thing didn't have a car, but it was supposed to be like the final boss. I don't really understand that one. Maybe does that character have a car? I would assume this is some character from the video games that has some gnarly car or something, or maybe it's a villain that you fight that I'm unaware of. As I said, I'm not super familiar with the games, so definitely tell me what this character is. Is it a character in the games, or is it just created for the show, or what? But yeah, I didn't really like that all that much. That's actually one of the more down like one of the downsides of this season, but it really didn't take away from my enjoyment all that much. I was kind of like, oh, that's lame. I think if they were in a car and it was like they had like some really rad, crazy, unbeatable car, that would have been cooler. But it just being kind of like a person standing out there, I don't know. That was whatever to me. And then, yeah, I mean, as I said, I just wanted to quickly talk about it and say that, like, I really got invested in everyone. I was bummed when Vermin died. I was bummed that all of these characters ended up having to die after you got to know them. But yeah, I thought there was a lot of really good jokes. Once again, Anthony Mackie really brings his A game. The girl who plays Quiet is really, really likable and really good. Mayhem as well. She's super fun in this. Sweet Tooth, Will Arnett voicing, and the wrestler guy that plays the body of him. They make a really good pairing. Once again, really, really fun with them. But yeah, that's just kind of like the best word to describe this show. This show is just pure fun. That's it. I had a great time. Another fantastic, wonderful season for me that I just had a good time with from start to finish. Left on this big major cliffhanger for a season 3. Stu winning Twisted Metal was pretty funny. I kept thinking it the whole time. I'm like, Stu's still alive. He's still alive. I kept thinking that Sweet Tooth was going to get up and get into his ice cream truck and run that guy over and kind of save the day and win. I thought it was going to be Sweet Tooth who won, because of course he didn't actually wish for anything. He's the asshole. You would think Calypso would want him to have won since he didn't wish. But I guess this was all some big devised plan with the insiders, with Calypso, to frame John and Quiet for this explosion, this terrorist act, to basically give them some mandate to go out and eradicate the outsiders, so that they could just tear the walls down and not deal with anyone anymore. And it's just like, okay, if you stand with these guys, then we'll kill you. And they're basically just gonna say that everyone's standing with them, right? They're just gonna use as an excuse to do away with the undesirables. Sound familiar? Yeah, this is a classic move. The elites want to get rid of the undesirables, so they make up some boogeyman and then use it as some kind of get out of jail free card, to take out whoever they want, and then be like, oh, we're doing it in the name of freedom and fear mongering. Anyway, yeah, big cliffhanger. Stu winning and getting his wish. The whole careful what you wish for, which is what he talks about when he's trying to pitch this show. He ends up ending up, in space. The fact that he just gets back and is like, I timed it with landing in a lake and then made my way to you. I guess that's the closest place to it instead of like the ocean. He's landing in the middle of a lake. How Stu was able to do such a thing, I wouldn't think he would be capable of such mathematical equations. But hey, maybe I'm cutting Stu short on his abilities. I don't know. But yeah, big cliffhanger. Oh god, I will be so bummed if this doesn't get picked up. So check it out, watch it, support it, make sure the views go up on it so that they greenlight a season 3, because this would be another major blow from this year, another cancellation that I would be furious about if we don't get to see the conclusion. If they're gonna do it, they can at least just be like, look, like, the ratings aren't great right now, so we're just going to finish this up with a movie or something. Just please finish the show. This is something that studios should be required to do. If you're going to greenlight a show, you have to finish it. It should be written into the contract as they pick up shows. Like, okay, we'll give you 1 season, and if you can't get a viewership that we're happy with, we're going to cancel the show, and we'll give you, 2 hours. I'll give you a movie. There should be an end cap that's written into the clause of all shows. It's really cruel to make a series that leaves off on a cliffhanger, that has this whole thing. You get however many people. If you don't think it's enough, it is whatever. You got some people invested. And then to just pull it from them, it feels like a big middle finger to anyone who did support the show that you were hoping was going to get support. And it makes them not really trust and want to go, because when you get that kind of like, when you get that kind of like negativity in you, that betrayal kind of feeling, and you invested your time in this show, and then it's pulled from you, and you're like, I love that show. No, screw it. I'm not watching anything now. Like, that happens to people, and that definitely happens to me. Where, like, a lot of times, dude, I don't even like watch a lot of Netflix series these days, because they're famous for getting like these shows going, and then they just cancel them. They don't really care. They don't really seem to care if it's doing well, if it has a big fan base or a cult following or whatever. They're just kind of like, fuck it, we don't care. We'll just greenlight 50 other shows, right? Like, they don't seem to care about their shows at all. And something like Peacock, they don't have a lot of shows, so that actually is good for us Twisted Metal fans, because they don't really have a lot to go off of, and they need to have some programming. So unlike Netflix, who greenlights 50 new shows a day, Peacock doesn't have much. So it bodes well for the future of Twisted Metal, because what else are they going to greenlight? They don't really have much other kind of content. Although they could just file for bankruptcy and go out. But I really hope, no matter what, season 3, let's make it happen. That's that. Hopefully, I'll see you in season 3. All right. Adios.